the season started, perhaps it would be against a ranked LSU team, and it was not. This was their first game since firing head coach Brian Kelly. Garrett Nussmeier was benched at one point in this game. Ty Simpson and the Tide get it done. Ty Simpson 21 of 35, 277, 1 touchdown. Daniel Hill gets a rushing touchdown, and Alabama wins it 20-9. The LSU Tigers did not score a touchdown in this game, and that's just disappointing. They were trying to play for the interim coach, Coach Wilson, and it's Alabama who rolls at home. Back here in studio, Richard Johnson, Cardale Jones. Cardale, look, Alabama's just taking care of business here. They're at home where they have won 17 in a row. What did you see from Alabama? What's your takeaway from this game?
You know what, they picked up right where they left off with coming out the bye week. They had a very impressive stretch of winning 4 straight games versus 4 straight ranked opponents. And today was no difference. I know we all expected this game to be a ranked, potentially top 10 game, but Alabama's doing what they do, right? It doesn't matter who they play, going out there putting their best foot forward. Didn't have their best rushing performance today, but Ty Simpson is showing why he should be considered in these Heisman talks. As I talked before the show, before the game, and he put on a nice performance, efficient, protected the football, and got it one in the end zone with Ryan Williams.
Cardale, Alabama's run game does leave a lot to be desired. I think that may come to bite them in January, but those are January problems because they do look destined for the college football playoff right now if they keep on this track of winning ball games. Obviously, they're top 4 seed if the playoff was to be played tomorrow. I thought that Bama came in here and handled business, and that was important. One of the things that Bama doesn't do under Kalen DeBoer is they don't mess around in a spot like this, where they have 2 weeks to prepare for a big-time opponent at home. They don't really mess around. It's when they stub their toe that's the problem. For instance, like a Vanderbilt last year where they're a favorite and they should be able to win. And so they handle business. LSU's defense is never really the problem. LSU's defense is going to pose a challenge, and they did today to Alabama. But at the end of the day, LSU can't score. They pull Garrett Nussmeier for Michael Van Buren in the second half to try to get a spark, try to get something, but it didn't really work. And in the end, Alabama pulled away.
Yeah, you mess around, you find out. So you don't mess around, you can win games, right? You take care of business. Look, Garrett Nussmeier being pulled in this game, what was your reaction to that? Like, this was a kid after last season. We were talking about going in the top 10 in the NFL draft. He comes back to LSU, and it has been a disappointing season for this young man.
Yeah, disappointment to say the least. I'm just watching that game, just so many emotions because he was a guy that coming into the season I had as a potential Heisman front runner coming into the season. Then with all the experience under his belt, I had him projected for his preseason All-American as well. Clearly not living up to those expectations as us as the media or the LSU nation has put upon him. And I guarantee you, being a coach's kid, he's not living up. He knows he's not living up to the expectation he has for himself. It's just sad to see all around. LSU is one of the teams that's coming into this season that was a potential national championship contender with all the weapons they had returning, and so far haven't been living up to the hype.
Hit on the defensive transfers, did LSU? Missed on a lot of the offensive transfers. Mainly on the offensive line. It's one of the main reasons why Garrett Nussmeier is not able to get the best out of his game, why that offense has not been cohesive. They've struggled to run the ball as well, and why LSU is not going to get where they want to go. I mean, bowl eligibility right now is at least in flux here coming home. They still got Oklahoma on this slate as well, Arkansas as well coming home. We'll see if LSU is actually going to make the postseason.
Well, Alabama will probably remain at 4 in the next college football playoff rankings when they come out on Tuesday. Had they not lost to Florida State, we would be talking about number 1 Alabama. There's no question about it. 4 ranked wins, that's more than any other team in FBS in terms of ranked wins. And this resume looks really good now, Richard. It's 8 straight wins since that season opening loss to the Seminoles.
Yeah, they've put that Florida State game in the rear view mirror. It's a thing that is going to be on their resume. You have to acknowledge that it's a terrible loss, but they got 8 pretty good wins also on the resume, and they are rolling right now. They're going to have to play that Oklahoma team that is going to give Ty Simpson such a unique challenge so far with how good they are up front. Alabama has not played a team that's as good up front as Oklahoma is yet this season, and we saw what Oklahoma's defense can do to this Alabama team, what they did last year against the Crimson Tide. So we'll see how that goes when the Tide and the Sooners match up.
How do they stack up? You got John Mateer, you got Ty Simpson. I mean, this is going to be a massive game next week.
Yeah, interesting matchup to say the least. You talk about the game last year when Jalen Milroe was the quarterback. This is a completely different Alabama offense with Ty Simpson leading the charge, what is a pass first, and then clearly we saw some design quarterback runs. Ty Simpson was a dual threat quarterback coming out of high school, so he has the ability to run. Now, I'm not saying he's a Jalen Milroe at any means, but I think the Sooners defense will give this Alabama offense a struggle and kind of some looks they haven't seen before. We saw what the Sooners defense did to a high-power, high-flying Tennessee offense last week, and I think they can be posed, especially on that pass rush, so that front seven can really get at the Alabama.
Certainly helps Alabama that this game will be played at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium, where they have won now 17 in a row, extending the longest active streak in FBS. Alabama with 8 straight wins since that season-opening loss to Florida State, and another streak at home versus unranked teams for Alabama. 85 straight home wins against unranked teams, longest streak in the past 30 years. If you come into Tuscaloosa and you are unranked and you don't have a little number next to your name, you're probably leaving town with a loss. That's how good Alabama is at home against unranked teams. They don't mess around. You heard what Richard said. They don't mess around on this night, and they get another win as they improve to now 8-1. When we return, we've got CBS Sports college football insider Richard Johnson. Let's start with the teams who disappointed. Virginia projected to be in the playoff, not anymore. Lost to Wake Forest. Virginia starting quarterback Chandler Morris knocked out of the game after taking a big hit. Cavaliers had 3 fumbles in this game. Consider they had 0 in the first 9 games. And then Louisville, who stood to benefit the most from the Virginia loss, lost to Cal in overtime. Cardinals were without their leading rusher, Isaac Brown, in this game because of a leg injury. Richard, overall a tough day for 2 ACC teams that were in the mix for a playoff spot.
Well, they were only in the mix because they were in the pole position to make the ACC championship game. Remember, the committee told you a very clear thing about where Virginia and Louisville were both ranked in the initial college football playoff rankings at 14 and 15. Then you've got Georgia Tech at 17, Miami at 18. They were telling you that that league was going to be a 1-bid league, and it was going to be the champion of that league, probably going in as an 11 seed. Well, now the 2 teams kind of in pole position there in the mix there to make the conference championship game are now on the rocks because of what happened. Virginia had been playing with fire Cardell all season, right? Yeah. They come like as close as physically possible to losing to North Carolina a couple weeks ago in overtime, and Hakeem just made a good point. The fumble luck caught up with them in this game. The way that oblong ball bounced out of their favor tonight.
Yeah, you look at this team right now, and I agree. The ACC as a whole is the biggest loser of tonight because now you pretty much wipe off the consideration to having multiple teams having a bid for the college football playoffs, and that starts to have those conversations. I know we're going to get into a little bit later, but about a 10-2 or potentially a 9-3 team from an SEC, potentially a big team. You look at USC down the road, if they can do some things in their schedule to sneak in over a potential 2-loss ACC team because the way how things have crumbled during this last part of the season. It's tough for Virginia, it's tough for Louisville because now they don't control their own destiny.
That's absolutely right. And now you leave it up to the committee to project who's going to be in, but at the end of the day, it's whoever gets to the ACC championship, the winner will potentially get in, right? I mean, we talked about this in the green room. If there's a winner from the ACC championship, there might not be good enough to get in. There's a scenario there.
Well, the ACC champion will get in on auto bid.
Right.
Now, they'll get in as the 11 seed, and they'll be 1 seed higher than the group of 5 champion, the 5th highest ranked conference champion. So they'll get in, but they get in by rule only. They would not get in as an at-large. Would not get in as an at-large.
So it's almost like a default.
Clear.
It's like a default.
Yeah, that's clear. I mean, it's clear. Clemson wouldn't have gotten in the college football playoff last year had they not have beaten SMU in that championship game and stolen a bid. I don't think you got to worry about it this year. Doesn't matter who steals what bid or what have you. 1 ACC team gets in the college football playoff this year.
Well, we know that the Big 12 also is potentially a 1-bid conference, and BYU entered the day projected to be in the playoff. Their chances took a hit, losing to Texas Tech. It was the Cougars' first loss of the season. Richard, is this still a